What's going on, guys? So before we jump in, I just want to give a massive shout out and thanks to everyone that was involved in helping with the IDs and a couple of the other files as well. Big credits to them. You find the names down in the description and in the tool itself as well. So there's a couple additions I added, and basically what it lets you do is you can swap stuff out quite easily. So you can, in a sense, make new weapons, make new items. You can do a couple of things. So we're going to go ahead and jump straight into it. So the first thing that we'll do is we're going to just select a weapon here, and then we can jump over to the PC, load the editor, and then we're going to make a couple of changes. So if we open this up, you see we have all our weapons here. If we take a look at this red katana, for example, now what we're going to do is we're going to swap out this weapon, and we could swap out, for example, say this weapon here. Now the interesting thing about this is when you swap a weapon with another weapon, it should keep the same or close to the same damage, and it should keep all the attributes of it. So for example, if we change this angry Trish weapon with any weapon that we want, or any weapon that anyone wants, what'll happen is the new weapon that you change it to will keep the 12 stats, and it'll keep the mods and stuff. So we'll go ahead and we'll swap these two out. Now the tool works with swapping out the accessories and swapping out the consumables. Now the thing that makes the items infinite is it's a little strange the way it works, but if you, for example, say swap out a shrapnel trap, or say a doom shotgun, if you swap that out with a consumable, then the consumable becomes infinite to drop, and vice versa. So if you swap a consumable with an accessory, that accessory will then become infinite, if that makes sense. It's a little strange the way it works, but I'm sure if enough people play around with it, they might have even a better understanding of how it works than I do. But as far as I know, if you swap, an accessory with a consumable and vice versa, I'm pretty sure the same thing works if you swap an accessory with a weapon. It should become infinite, but there is a little issue with that. I'll leave all the details down in the description. Make sure you guys read that. I'll have a little file you can read, because there's a lot of issues that can happen. It can cause the game to crash if you swap things that aren't supposed to have mods on it. So if we go back into our weapons here, as I was saying, if you swap a weapon with a weapon, or an item with a weapon, the item you swap it with will still have all of the attributes, the stats, and the mods. Now that is an issue, because if you swap, for example, a crossbow or a bow with a weapon that has mods on it, the game will crash. And it's the same, for example, with the Doom shotgun. If you take a Doom shotgun and you replace it with a weapon that has 4 mods on it, the game will crash, because a lot of items, a lot of accessories, bows, crossbows, they're not allowed to have the modifications themselves on it. So that will cause issues. Just keep that in mind when you're playing around. Everything else 100% works. It's been tested by a good few people. Everything that was made the way it was, it does work. It works perfect. It's flawless. There's no issues. But if you start messing around with things, like replacing some items that are not supposed to have mods on them with items that do have mods on them, that's going to cause issues, and that will cause crashes. So we'll just go ahead here. We're going to swap out the angry Trish weapon and this red katana. We're going to swap this out with 2 of our own weapons. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump over to the PC. Alright, so now that we're on our PC, we can go ahead, and I had to compile this a little bit differently than last time, but it's still relatively easy. If people find like it's a hassle, all you have to do is you can just create a shortcut for it. There's a lot of other files in here. It just had to be compiled a bit different. You can leave the shortcut there on your desktop, and you could just open it there like that if you want. Makes it a little bit easier than having to open it up and go through all the things to find the executable. Anyways, nonetheless, let's jump straight in. So we have our save here, our save edit. We're going to go ahead and we're going to open the save. So we're in save edit folder. We're going to go ahead and open it. Now obviously the legend levels don't show because this is an older save, so I will leave these saves in the description. They are like from an older version, so they should work regardless. They won't have any of those new checks in place and things like that, so they will work. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump over to our weapons. Now all of the weapons that show up here, this is the weapons that it finds in the save file itself. Now I don't have everything fully translated yet, so if there are some weapons that you have in the save and it like they don't show up inside the weapons tab, it's probably because I don't have it translated and added yet. Although alas, I'm still working on that. So anyways, so we have our weapons here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to look for the red katana, which I think it's called the Shinorishi or whatever it's called. Should be, yeah, here we go. So we have our red katana now. We know this is called, you know, Chino Ari, whatever the hell that's called. I've butchered it too many times already. So it's quite simple the way this works. So we're just going to go to all IDs. Now there's a small bug I have here with this, but I'll fix it in a future update. Now if we just type, say, CH, there we go. So it finds the weapon that we want. Now this is the ID itself for this weapon. So we can change this. We can change this weapon to anything in this file. There's, by the way, there's a lot of stuff in this ID file, so we can change this to anything that's the same length or that is smaller. So for example, you can see this ID is a bit bigger than this, so if we go ahead and copy this, we're going to press Ctrl C, we copy this. Now if we try and replace this, it should give us an error, and it'll say error, ID is too long. So it has to be the exact same size as the original ID that you're swapping, or it has to be smaller. So if we go ahead, for example, let's find let's try the Hakon Axe. It should be the same size, so we'll go ahead and we'll take this. I think it's a little bit smaller, should work nonetheless. So we'll go ahead and we'll copy this, we'll paste it back in here, and you can see weapon ID has been swapped successfully and written to save. So now we no longer have that red katana, we have Hakon's axe. So we're going to go ahead and swap another one here very quickly, which was the Angry Trish weapon. So again, we could just go into our all IDs, we can type ANG, oh, ANF, ANG, OY, here we go. Now, I forgot to mention this at the top of this file, you're going to see a lot of these. Obviously, I tried to add every weapon in the game, so the way these work is in total there's about 34 tiers of each weapon, or a lot of the weapons, and the way it works is, so it's like tier 1 up to tier 24 for a lot of them. Now the way this works, you know, if people want to try and understand it, I think it goes from tier 1, well this should be tier 0, I forgot to add those in, but it should go from tier 0 to tier 5, and then it changes from grey to green, I think it is, and then, you know, so on. So and then it goes from 6 to 10, I think, and then it goes from green to blue, say for example, and then it just keeps going up and up and up, and it'll increase the damage for each tier of the weapon. So we have level 24, it should be, I forgot to add that in. As you see, a lot of these are level 24, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to swap this with let's have a look up here at the top. I just can't think of any weapons off the top of my head. So we need quite a small ID here. We could try this. So we'll go ahead and copy this. We'll go back into our weapons, go to the Angry Trish weapon, and it's too long. Yeah, so we need a smaller ID for that. Unfortunately, do we have a small one here somewhere? This might work. So we'll go ahead, go into our weapons, throw that in. And there we go. So we've swapped that now, the Angry Trish weapon, with the, I think it was, I'm not even sure what weapon it was anymore. I think it was this one, the Bluntini. Oh yeah. So that's kind of pretty much how it works. So it is quite simple. Obviously there's a lot of stuff I have to work on. It's still, you know, quite early on, but it does work, and it, you know, the same goes for the accessories. So all of the accessories that's in the save file itself, this is everything that it reads, that it loads. So you could go ahead and you could go to, say, this is accessories, so we'll go to our accessory ID, and you can, you know, pretty much just go ham. You can just take any of these, like for example, if we take the demolisher rock thing, if we go ahead and we go to our accessories, I know the Doom shotgun has quite a long ID, so we could just throw that in like that, and boom. Oh, that didn't work. I think this one works. Here we go. So we go ahead and we swap that. So now when we go back into the game, we're gonna have that demolisher rock thing. You know, I'm not sure what way that works. I don't even know if other people can pick it up or not, but you know, you get the idea. A lot of this stuff, like the thrown spear, I forgot to remove some of these notes, but it's fine, don't worry about it. These do work. So the thrown spear, and there's also the electric thrown spear. This is quite cool. So you can actually replace these with weapons. So if we try this real quick, we can go into a weapon and we just say something else that's in the inventory. Let's have a quick look here on the PS4. Let's see. Do we have? Yeah, we have the knuckles here. So we'll go ahead and we'll throw our thrown electric spear in there. So that should be made infinite now, I think. I think that's the way it works. I'm not sure if you have to swap it with something else. You might have to swap that thrown spear with an accessory or consumable, I think. But yeah, it works quite simple. Now the same goes for mods. So this is the mods that it's, you know, each or all weapons have in the save. And the way this works is if we swap one mod, for example this one, this will change all of those. Like it will swap out this upgrade, say the impact special attack, and it will replace all the weapons in the save that have that upgrade. So if we go ahead and we go into the mod ID, we could just go down to the bottom. I think there's a couple of the new ones, the cool ones here. Like we could use the blood red katana one, for example. We could go back into our mod upgrades. We could go to our impact, we could throw that in, and we could go ahead and replace that. So now when we go back into the game, the impact mod, whatever weapons had that, all of the weapons that had that upgrade are now replaced with the katana mod upgrade. I think the the mod impact crane bat, that's the one that makes them all go flying away. So we could go ahead and throw that on. We could replace, say, the we could try, let's see what else have we got. The catapult, I think that's this one as well. So we go ahead and throw that on with that. So now we've replaced a couple of things. So all we really have to do now is we just have to open up our save wizard, go to our save, open up in advanced mode. Right, so once we have our advanced mode open, we're just going to go ahead and we're going to go to our save edit. Now another small feature I added was as soon as you modify anything in the save, it will create an original copy of the save. So in this backup folder that we have, this is before anything was changed and modified on the save. So for example, if you change and swap out a load of things and the save crashes, or you know, and you don't know what caused the crash and you can't fix it, you could just go back and keep the original version of the save. Now if you change a load of things and it works and you want to keep that, all you have to do is, I mean for now it's probably a little bit easier if you just delete the backup folder, and then the next time you go to mess around with the save, it will create that folder again, and then you will have that backup of, you know, everything that you've changed and modified or whatnot, and you know that it works. So it's quite handy that. But yeah, we're just going to go ahead and open our save. We're going to click apply. Alright, so once that's done, all you have to do is we can just eject our USB. Alright, so now that we've loaded in, guys, we can just go ahead and open our inventory here. And once we go to our weapons, you can see now the other weapons that we had are not here, and we now have Hakon's axe. And you can actually see as well that it's got the Storm Blood mod from the red katana, and it's also got the impact mod. as well, which is quite nice. And then the other weapon we swapped was this one here, the Blantonio, I think it's called, and you can also see that that now has the impact mod, so that's quite cool. And all of the other weapons, as I say, when you swap one mod, it replaces it for all of the weapons on that save. So you can see now all the weapons have that no-named modification on it. So yeah, it's quite simple. It works quite simple. It's a little bit of a hacky solution, but I mean, for now, I guess, you know, it works. You can just make up whatever weapons, drop them to a friend, and have that friend drop them back onto your main save or something like that. And you can see here as well, we've also got the throwing spear, which is quite cool. And yeah, I mean, you know, it's quite simple. As I say, it's a little bit of a hacky solution, but it works. So we'll just go ahead and try these out real quick. Why not? So I'll just go ahead and we'll try out the axe here first. It's quite cool. So yeah, you can fly in straight away. That's quite cool. So we know the mods work. We know the weapon stuff works. Yeah, he's gone, which is quite nice. And then there's also this one as well, which is quite cool. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it, guys. You know, it's quite simple. And as I say, you can swap out a lot of the consumables and stuff like that as well, you know. We did swap out a Demolisher Rock. I'm not sure why that didn't work. I think if you replace the rock with a weapon that doesn't have any mods on it, it works. It might crash if you replace it with a weapon that does have mods. As I said like earlier on in the video, a lot of stuff that you're not supposed to have mods on will crash the game, you know. So you just have to be careful for that. But aside from that, everything else works kind of pretty much as expected, you know. You can swap out your upgrades. You can swap out your weapons, make new weapons, things like that. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far into the video, I really do appreciate it. I also would appreciate if you left a like, leave a comment down below, and if you're new, why not subscribe? I'm sure to be pretty cool content for other things and more updates in the future. So yeah, I hope you all have a good day. Peace.